Welcome to Frostworld, where it's negative 1,000 degrees, and we can't leave. Our goal is to survive 100 days in this tundra while expanding our base to accommodate an ever-growing number of refugees, using only the finite resources scattered about the map. But that's not the only problem we face. No. You see, the pawns we start with are by far unfit for this task, being delicate, wimpy weaklings. Noobert will need to whip this ragtag team into shape if we hope to survive, as the wildlife has no intention of letting us win. We begin attempt 1 by building all the walls around our little heating vent here so we don't freeze to death. Oh. No! That didn't work so well. Same plan as before, but we're going to try to move a little bit faster this time. Success! Now that we've ensured we're not going to freeze to death, it's time to put down our donkey and bring in our supplies because this is kind of all we got. Oh gosh. The botching is so painful. Now that we had power, we could use the electric smelter to melt down all the slag chunks scattering the map. This will give us the steel we need to expand our little ice home. At least that's what I thought we were doing until the wildlife decided to kill us. All of us. Not gonna lie, this is my 7th attempt at this, and I have a feeling that I'm going to have to start taking things very seriously. So no more messing around, game. We start with the usual rush to get the roof up and the walls built, and we almost didn't make it in time. But we had built enough roof, and the temperature was going up. Arise, my soldiers. We finished the roof and scheduled the donkey for slaughter. It was time to make our plans. For starters, I have to admit something to you. We're actually running mods. Not very many, but a few. Specifically, alpha animals and Dub's Bad Hygiene. Dub's Bad Hygiene is easily the most important mod on this list, as it's going to make this run actually doable. With a new form of central heating, we'll be able to pipe the heat from this center building here around our base. But first, we're gonna have to research it. I made some zones to control where our pawns go, that way they don't go outside and freeze to death. And then I built a toilet. Oh yeah, Dub's Bad Hygiene requires toilet. We'll just put the toilet right next to where everybody sleeps. Oh yeah, there's a dead polar bear in the base. I didn't tell you what happened there, did I? Well, here's the story. This particular polar bear committed the sin of stealing our donkey meat. This was unforgivable, and Noobert decided he should shoot it. Yes. Obviously, things got a little out of hand, and it came inside. Hydroman and FG Hop volunteered themselves as meat shields so Noobert could get a better shot. After a few more rounds from Noobert's bolt-action rifle, the bear was left to writhe on the ground, regretting its actions. Which brings us back to this moment. With the threat of wildlife stealing our food, it was time we built a place to store it. Conveniently, it gets so cold in any room without a heater, all we need do is put a shelf in a box. Eventually, it came time to start boxing in our first growing zone. And because there's no way on or off the map, we're not gonna get any new wildlife. So unless we grow our food, we're gonna die. But that's not our only problem. We have no way to keep these greenhouses warm, which is why we need to finish this research. Meanwhile, the wildlife came for our sweetmeats, and we handled it. Or so I thought. Now it's handled. Then came the time to name this colony, after a totally unrelated game. Our research was going really smoothly, and it was finally time to start laying the pipes between our greenhouse and our geothermal heater. Soon we'd be able to build the radiators that would maintain the heat within this room. And so time went by. We built things and more or less sat around, waiting for research to finish. And then it happened. We built the radiators. But we didn't have enough steel to build the sunlit. It was time to start melting down slag chunks. After a whole lot of slag chunks, we built another windmill, and we're not going to be building any solar generators, and there's a reason for this. In order to make the map this cold, we also have a smoke generator, and a smoke cloud will eventually block out the sun. We're better off not building solar generators at all. With our potatoes grown, our future is secured. Probably. We rescued our first person, who happily joined us. And again, time went by. The wildlife outside finally started to freeze in the more extreme colds that we were experiencing. We decided to go collect their carcasses to bring over to eat because we were running out of food. On the topic of food, I noticed something interesting about these frostmites. They seem to just scurry about the snow and ice, pulling corpses from the ground. Now, I'm not a fan of cannibalism, but I think we can get along with these things nicely. I decided to build a nutrient paste dispenser, that way it wasn't so clear what we were feeding people. It finally came time to begin Operation Power, but we didn't have enough steel. So first we're gonna do Operation Metal. Operation Metal consists of hauling slag chunks from way far away to be used in Operation Power. It was a difficult task. Many of us collapsed in the cold and had to be rescued. But eventually, we got what we needed and built the geothermal generator. Now with that pesky electricity problem out of the way, we could build these things called hydroponic basins. With these, we'd be able to grow more food than we knew what to deal with and save a great deal of people. Or so I thought. We're using too much power. Time to begin Operation Metal Part 2. This involves us building a box with heat a ways out from the base, so that way our people can go collect the slag chunks and bring them to the halfway point without freezing to death. Surprisingly, it's so cold out there that a parka won't save you, not even for an hour. With construction of the hot room nearly complete, it's about time we prepare ourselves for the slag hauling. This consists of a contained zone with the hot room and a dumping zone to dump all the slag chunks we gather. And so we hauled. For a really long time, actually. Randy saw fit to send us some milk, then we hauled even more. Eventually I decided to build a water tower so we could run sprinklers on our soil. Eventually I decided to expand the walls a little bit, not too far. The base looks pretty good, don't you think? Just don't look at how it's been over a year. It was finally time to collect our 5th soul. After so many long months of collecting slag chunks, we were finally able to start building the 2nd geothermal generator. With it would come more hydroponics tubs. And so Operation Power 2 was complete. And with it we gained heart and hope. The ability to grow more food would allow us to rescue more souls. And a boon of steel from the mountainside in the spring allowed us to gather the needed materials. And with the hope of more food, we took a 6th soul in. And with our walls being so cramped, it was time to expand them so that we could build a biofuel refinery. You see, we've been collecting everybody's fecal sludge since the start of the game. This fecal sludge can be turned into chemfuel. Chemfuel that can be used for things. Things I will divulge later. For now, we need more steel. And it seems the map is running out. We've come a long way, gathering even more lost souls. But it finally come time to escape this awful place. The map had no resources left. We had to tear apart our own structures to build the drop pods. We loaded them all up full of poo fuel and stocked them with all of our food. Our base gutted from what it once was. It was finally time to leave. As you can see, we're landing only at the shore of our continent. We couldn't fly far enough to get across the ocean, so we brought enough resources along to build yet another set of drop pods to launch us yet again further across the ocean into the mainland. Tensions were running high. One of our own went berserk, and another destroyed all our components. We wouldn't be able to build the 5th drop pod. But we couldn't end our journey here. No, we were too close. It was decided that the 2 offenders would stay behind to fend for themselves while the rest of us seek salvation further down. Maybe the 2 of them will survive being outside of that wretched hole. As for Noobert, the weather was getting the best of him. We had to take shelter quickly or we'd all perish. After a short rest to regain our strength, it was time to hit the road yet again. After days of traveling, we slowly ran out of food. We had to stop and gather resources before continuing. After several days of gathering berries, we hit the road again on our final trip to our final destination. I'd like to thank all our patrons that help us make videos like this. We couldn't have done it without you. It took a long time to make this one, so if you liked it, be sure to hit that like button. It helps me know that this is something worth spending my time on. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.